Sometimes even when things seem to be going incredibly well in public life with huge achievements, the most unexpected, just heartbreaking news can really stop us all in our tracks. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into exactly one of those moments. It's the tragic and very sudden passing of football star Diogo Jota and his brother, Andre Silva, in just a devastating car accident.
Yeah, it's a story that really struck a chord globally, didn't it? Just this huge outpouring of grief, shock, really, across the whole sporting world and, frankly, beyond.
Absolutely.
So our mission here in this deep dive is to try and unpack the sources we have, to understand as best we can the circumstances of this awful event. We'll also explore the lives, the careers of both brothers, and kind of look into that profound global impact, the grief.
Right, and we've gathered quite a range of sources for this. We've got police reports giving the official details, statements from their clubs, the national federations too. Then there are these incredibly personal tributes from fellow athletes, people who knew them, and of course, just the massive public reaction, which really shows you how far their lives reached.
It really does.
So with that kind of overview of our mission and sources, let's get into the details. Starting with the tragic incident itself, maybe you can walk us through what the initial findings were.
Okay, so the incident itself happened just past midnight local time in Spain. According to the Spanish Civil Guard, that's their national law enforcement agency,
Right.
the 28-year-old Diogo Jota and his younger brother, Andre Silva, who was 25, they were killed when the car they were in, a Lamborghini, it veered off an isolated stretch of highway.
Isolated, okay.
Yeah, this was about an hour west of a place called Zamora, and tragically, the car then burst into flames.
Oh, awful. And the police investigation, they confirmed some key things pretty quickly, didn't they?
They did. They confirmed no other vehicles were involved and that the brothers were alone in the car. It also wasn't immediately clear who was actually driving at the time.
Yeah.
And while the investigation into the exact causes is, still ongoing, the police are specifically looking into one hypothesis.
Which is?
That the accident might have been caused by a blown tire, possibly while they were attempting to overtake another vehicle.
Okay. That
Yeah.
makes sense as a line of inquiry.
Yeah. And the Spanish media reports, well, they painted a pretty grim picture of the scene itself.
I can imagine.
Visual evidence showed, like, extensive braking tire marks just veering sharply off the road,
Right.
leading to guardrails that were just torn apart. The burnt-up car was found several meters ahead of that initial impact point.
Wow.
And the vegetation all around it was destroyed by the fire. I mean, the level of devastation described, it really speaks volumes about how severe that crash must have been.
Absolutely. And, while those initial reports focused on the mechanics of the crash, the tragedy of it, our deep dive into the sources, it reveals this even more profound layer of just personal heartbreak, doesn't it?
It really does. It compounds the loss massively.
Yeah, like the fact that Diogo Jota's death, we found out, came just weeks after he married Ruth Cardoso.
Yeah, just weeks.
She'd apparently just posted Yes to Forever on social media,
Yeah.
capturing that, peak moment of joy.
Oh, that's just...
And then he leaves behind 3 children. The youngest was born just last year. It's those kinds of details, isn't it, that really take this from being just a news headline to like a deeply human story.
Absolutely. And it puts his career achievements, which were substantial, into a different kind of perspective.
Right. Let's talk about that career. His club career, especially with Liverpool, was really something else.
Oh, absolutely. Nothing short of remarkable. That move he made to Liverpool from Wolves back in 2020, he just immediately became such a pivotal player for them. Won 3 major trophies with the club.
Including the Premier League title just weeks before his death.
Exactly. He was instrumental in helping them clinch that title, which is, a real testament to his impact, his skill, right up until the end.
Yeah. He really had this reputation as a clinical finisher. And it wasn't just the numbers, though. 65 goals in 182 games for Liverpool is impressive.
Very.
It was his knack for scoring crucial goals, often from difficult angles or with barely any warning. That made him so valuable in those tight games.
Yeah. Clutch player.
Totally. And his last goal for Liverpool, unbelievably, was the winner in the Merseyside Derby against Everton back in April.
Wow, the Derby winner.
Yeah, that huge local rivalry match. And that goal was a significant part of them actually winning the league title. What a final mark to leave.
Incredible. And then on the international stage, for Portugal, he was just as important.
Yeah, nearly 50 caps, I think.
Almost 50 appearances, yeah. He played a key role in helping Portugal win the Nations League.
Right. And that final, June 8th against Spain in Munich, Well, that tragically turned out to be his very last match. He'd really cemented his place as a national hero for Portugal.
And his brother, Andre Silva, while maybe not as globally known as Diogo, he was also a footballer, right? Pursuing his own career.
That's right. Andre was also a Portuguese soccer player. He played with a club called Penafiel in the lower divisions in Portugal.
So the passion for the game really ran in the family.
It seems so. A shared dream, perhaps. Diogo himself was born in Porto back in '96, made his professional debut with Passos de Ferreira, another Portuguese club. So football was deeply rooted for both of them right from the start.
Yeah. And the reaction to the news, just an immense outpouring of grief, wasn't it, from the football world and way beyond?
Oh, completely united in grief. Liverpool FC, they released a statement saying they were devastated. They asked for privacy for the family, friends, teammates, staff.
Understandable.
And promised their full support, during this just unimaginable time. And you think about that timing again. They'd just celebrated winning the Premier League. For a key player like Jota to be lost so suddenly, that must have sent absolute shockwaves through the club, the dressing room, the whole community spirit.
Definitely. And you saw that immediate visceral reaction from the fans, didn't you? Gathering outside Anfield, Liverpool Stadium.
Yeah, the images of flowers, scarves.
Exactly. Laying flowers, teen scarves. It's just a spontaneous act of mourning, but it really underlines how these athletes, they become more than just players. They're part of a community's identity.
And truly. And the official condolences came from really high up, too.
Right. Portugal's Prime Minister, Luis Montenegro, he commented on the, quote, unexpected and tragic deaths. Said Jota greatly honored Portugal's name, called it a sad day for soccer and for sports generally, nationally and internationally.
Strong words. And the Portuguese Soccer Federation.
They were, their president, Pedro Proença, used the phrase completely devastated. Proença described Jota as more than a fantastic player, an extraordinary person. Said he was respected by colleagues, opponents, highlighted his contagious joy.
That's a lovely description, contagious joy.
Yeah, and called him a reference in his community. It's clear he made a huge personal impact beyond just, kicking a ball.
Absolutely.
The Federation even requested a minute of silence before the Portugal and Spain match at the Women's European Championship.
A powerful gesture.
Very. And Proença had this really poignant remark that kind of summed it up for the nation, I think. We lost two champions. Their deaths represent an irreparable loss for Portuguese soccer.
Irreparable loss.
Yeah.
And the tributes just kept pouring in, right, from all over the world, even outside of football.
Oh, yeah, that was striking. It showed Jota's reach, like NBA star LeBron James.
Who was a minority owner at Liverpool, right?
Exactly. And tennis legend Rafael Nadal both shared condolences. It shows his influence really stretched way beyond the pitch, across global sports.
Incredible. And from within football, his teammates.
Yeah, his Portugal teammate, Cristiano Ronaldo, shared a particularly heartfelt quote. He said, it doesn't make any sense. Just now we were together in the national team. Just now you had gotten married. Rest in peace, Diogo and Andre. We will all miss you.
Wow, that's raw.
Very. And then condolences from his former club, Porto, countless former teammates, other clubs, federations, leagues. Just a huge wave of sympathy.
Even the Premier League itself put out a statement.
They did. Said they were shocked and devastated and added that football has lost a champion who will be forever missed. That unified response, it just underscores the profound shock and sadness that everyone felt.
So when we step back and look at everything we've unpacked here, what does this deep dive really illuminate for you, beyond just the awful facts?
Well, I think it's that sense of profound vulnerability, isn't it? Even for people who are seemingly at the absolute peak, top of their careers, personal happiness. Jota had just helped win a title, just got married. Andre was chasing his own football dream. It's just such a stark reminder that life's biggest moments, its greatest joys, can be so heartbreakingly close to its most unexpected fragility.
That paradox really seemed to hit home with people globally in this case, didn't it?
It really did. And the other thing that stands out is that unique power of community you find in sports.
Interesting point.
That immediate collective outpouring of grief, from the fans leaving scarves at Anfield to global athletes sending messages, it just shows how deeply these figures become part of our lives.
Right.
And how a sudden loss like this can just cut across borders, across different sports, uniting people in this shared sorrow and remembrance.
Yeah, it moves beyond just fandom, doesn't it? It becomes a human connection.
Exactly. And ultimately, I think going beyond just the basic news report like we've tried to do, it lets us appreciate the full human story,
Yeah.
The career highs, the personal joys, but also the collective sorrow that defines events like this.
Helps us see the people behind the headlines.
Precisely, and understand the real depth of their impact.
Yeah. That profound sense of loss felt across the football world and really far beyond for both Diogo Jota and Andre Silva. It's
Oh.
just immense.
Mm.
You mentioned Pedro Proença, the Portuguese Soccer Federation president. He
Yeah.
said that Portuguese soccer would do our best to honor their legacy daily.
Mhm. A powerful commitment.
It is, and it makes you think, doesn't it? As you, the listener, reflect on this devastating story, what does it actually mean to honor a legacy in our own lives?
Yeah.
Maybe it's not just about remembering people when tragedy strikes, but perhaps it's more about that ongoing appreciation,
Yeah.
recognizing people's contributions, their impact, while they're still with us, especially when, as we've seen so tragically here, their time can be cut so cruelly short.